Are you allergic to hazelnuts, Chris?
She's Mexican.
Dude, I hate jump.
Hey, William, are you allergic to hazelnuts?
Yeah, why?
Are you?
Yeah, no, peanuts, tree nuts, cashews.
Alright, well then.
Is that a word? Say that?
Oh!
Dude, Adrian, don't feel my touchback.
That's
Are
actually
you allergic?
I didn't see it coming.
Are you allergic to white chocolate?
I was playing.
No, I'm not.
Damn, dude.
Touch around and try and touch.
Sure, that's you.
Try and touch something very specific now.
You were whizzing by.
Yeah, I'm just watching.
It accelerates, and it's like there's no freaking timer to change that. I mean, we could probably look it up. Yeah, long there.
Don't want that. I think it's also the touchpad drivers.
Yeah, it's the driver. The Ubuntu has one driver. The Ubuntu has a driver that works on perfectly.
Are you allergic to hazelnuts? Are you?
No.
Now I'm your Pepsi. It's just chocolate. I went to the Ukraine over spring break and got a bunch of Ukrainian chocolate, so it's pretty awesome. Yeah.
How was it?
Oh, freaking awesome, dude! I went to Chernobyl.
Wait, went to Chernobyl?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What's up, Nate?
What did you say? Just want to grow a watermelon in my belly.
Hey, Hayden. Are you allergic to hazelnuts?
No.
I wasn't cooking show,
Sounds fancy. Hey, Nate.
Right.
Nate.
So if I went on a cooking show,
Hey, Nate. Are you allergic to hazelnuts? Are you allergic to hazelnuts?
like very basically, I
Thank you.
No problem, guys.
you gotta
Where do you guys go for spring break, or what did you guys do for spring break?
I had a cold.
Go home?
I got my wisdom teeth out.
Got your wisdom teeth out? Oh shit, dude. How you doing? Eating soup?
I'm good now, but yeah, I was just eating like Chinese food and stuff.
Yeah. Dude, I almost got a dry socket when I had a
He's the announcer.
I felt like the
Stop speaking.
like the scab was coming
She
out.
just
And I was
looks
just
at him
like,
and
why are you looking at my face? It never did, so it's okay. She just doesn't think I'm fun.
I haven't been today, I was there. My day started with my headlights being out in the car.
Dude,
In the end of this conversation?
you ever gotten pulled over
No.
with your headlights off?
No.
I have. Well, my headlight was without. I got pulled over one time and put through the freaking ringer. Where are you headed to? What is this?
I'm going.
My headlight's out, man. Sorry.
You know why they do that, right? If you have more than $100 on you, and they have.
Oh, they
any
get
suspicion at
confiscated?
all, they can confiscate
Yeah.
it for any reason.
Yep.
$100? More than $100.
There was a story of like some retired vet who was
Going to buy
who,
a used truck.
yeah, and he had out a bunch of cash and he was driving, got pulled over, and they confiscated all of it.
Wait, the cops?
Yeah.
Why did they confiscate?
Oh, are you talking about civil forfeiture?
They say it's drug money or civil forfeiture.
And the process is just like there isn't the process in place for people to be able to get it back.
But like most money we have today has traces of drugs on it. Like
Everything, they what, it's like 90-some% has cocaine on it.
it's crazy.
Well, they don't need any evidence for forfeiture. They just have to.
I mean, everything has traces of everything on it.
Proper suspicion. Proper.
Probably try and fight the cop.
Everything is drugs.
Don't fight the cop.
Yeah, I would get really pissed at that, I'm not gonna lie. Probably would.
I say everything has traces of everything on it. That said, I found it hilarious in middle school. We did like swab everyone's locker things and like put it in a petri dish. And then there was the one weird kid. His grew like 10 times as much stuff.
Yeah.
And it was just like,
all
probably
red,
never watched it.
all red and shit. What's up, man? Hey, are you allergic to hazelnuts?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
You're about to find out.
You're about to find out. Who's got the EpiPen?
Hazelnut chocolate? Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, there you go.
The AR-150.
I mean, it was
AR-150.
Who's a Nate?
They're all
That's not the one.
No.
That's not the one.
Oh,
we have.
Lenina? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one we have.
We have that
That's
in
our
our house.
VPN router.
Yeah, we're using that only for VPN.
I'm gonna get one. Actually, I already purchased one.
Two antenna, external antenna or an internal
I
antenna?
got the
Okay, I got the external.
because you can re-image it with a port of
What are you guys talking about?
Port of what?
There's a port of Wi-Fi pineapple because it's the same chipsets.
Oh,
But
Wi-Fi
it's only-
pineapple has the.
Wi-Fi antenna can be both
There's an antenna
an
for it.
access point
Oh, okay.
and
Yes.
allow internet through.
Yes.
So does the GlideNet router have enough? I don't want to say mix. I want to say wireless devices. Yeah, to be able to support that. It does. Dude, that's.
I know it has at least two.
I didn't know that. That's badass. If it's true.
I want to play with it.
Yeah.
It's a lot cheaper than even a nano. So
It comes with freaking
it's pretty
Open WRT, which is why I like it, because that's like pretty much the closest thing you can get to PFSense without having PFSense.
Can you put PFSense on?
I don't know. I feel like PFSense would not run very smoothly on it.
I mean, the default PFSense is basically just solid state recording. So
What's up, guys?
Nah, AJ, an actual scrolling is. It's like opposite.
What was your name again?
Derek.
Derek?
just
Are you
turn it
allergic
off
to
and now it's
hazelnuts?
just weird.
No. There you go.
Thanks.
You want one? I got you. Everyone gets chocolate.
AJ, can you enter your password? The computer fell asleep.
Oh.
Oh, okay. This is totally the real Windows login screen, I swear.
You know, you want some salt and vinegar chips?
These things you can't get into the settings to disable
Or, wait,
monitor
no,
falling
no,
asleep. It's so frustrating.
I got one.
Let's make one huge stir fry Sunday night. Saturday
I should do that one.
What's up, Corey? How's it going? You allergic to hazelnuts?
$3 at Costco.
Did I what?
Are you allergic to hazelnuts?
I know, I do that to
No?
market Sam.
I can get
You almost caught me. Hey,
Yeah, I almost got it right in the envelope.
Right when you- Yeah, I'll take wrappers.
Yeah.
Wrapper.
Yo.
I'll start freestyling. Well, it's freestyle.
Lay one down, right now. Or freestyle. This one. I'll get an actual freestyle of that. But how much you actually say?
Is this the video where the guy with the street has to
Oh, wait.
Artificial
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, I saw amazing. Brooke Beavers,
It looks like
so
that.
Brooke Beavers on the morning.
No, it's not. I thought it was first.
You're on the Slack, right, Derek?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Windows 98.
There's a neutral trace RT. No, it's like a trace RT.
Oh,
Fantastic.
have you heard of DNS mask?
Yeah, these are different.
I wanna.
I know
It's
all the
really easy to use.
DNS masks. Yeah.
I was thinking about getting like using like a small archive and just
Okay, I have it.
coding Pi-hole or something similar like it up, just all from scratch.
I also
DNS.
use listed.
That's my kick it is, yeah.
No, that's literally what it is. There's nothing else to it.
Really? See, I use PFSense and I leave Pi-hole.
You can say find DNS from this list or from this server. You can just say 888.
Oh.
And then it'll basically be like you're on the root server, but you can filter stuff out. But I think they're DNS Bible.
If you have this IP source code,
Is it hurting? But
Just frozen.
what was it saying? What's up, man? I'm sorry. What's the name again? What's your name?
Oh, Kevin.
Kevin, are you do you like white chocolate?
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
There you go. You guys enjoy the Ukrainian chocolates? Straight out of the motherland.
I
think we'll give it a couple more minutes to get to like 6:35 or 22:35.
Like, yeah.
No, 6:30 is not 22.
I see the Riders map, bro.
Huh?
Send you that map, right?
Yeah, that was on.
I'm not trying to put that out. So I'm going to do like 3D renderings. This.
Pretty cool.
Gotta get a picture of the fires plan for every building.
Dude, before that, we need to get a drone that we can actually harness wireless access point we can connect to.
Danger drone. Danger drone.io. Look it up.
Is that a thing?
Look it up.
What?
It's a
Oh, on the Wi-Fi phone.
$300 drone at $1,000 of toys.
Dude, I have Oh wait. So it costs more than 300.
Build it yourself.
Get a racing drone and an outfit.
Because
I was just gonna say.
It's the flight controller is a Kali Linux loaded Raspberry Pi, and then on top of that, they load it with like.
It's 6:33. Do we want to get
I'm
started?
gonna wait till 6:35.
Wait,
And then
wait.
can we close that door back there? And everybody has like a Kali distro or something, right? Or some kind of Ubuntu Linux, Debian-based Linux, right? Yeah. And if you guys want a nice little tool that you might be able to use to get the tools if you don't have Kali, look at Pen Tester's framework and get that all set up. It's really nice. What's up, man? Hey, are you allergic to hazelnuts? No. No? They are. Some Ukrainian chocolate. See, we don't have pizza, but we have Ukrainian chocolate. That's what matters.
Did you have Papa John's are like giving you for a meal swipe? You get 2 pieces of pizza.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
And if you have the unlimited meal swipe,
Dude, I just feel like I'm taking all your pizza.
yeah.
Dude,
Swipe me up.
You see it.
We got a card swipe or something.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
We need to code it with the unlimited meal plan on it.
You accept like Kia cards.
Yeah. All right, we'll give it another minute.
1 o'clock will close.
Okay.
yeah, no. Like, it's so much better than the.
AJ, have you posted a sign sheet yet?
Then Chris, can you post a sign-up sheet in Slack? Yeah. We're posting a sign-up sheet in Slack. Hop on General and sign on in. I actually need to do this because I forget. Justin, I hate you and that nice Surface laptop. I'm so jealous. Yeah, I want that. I want it so bad. All right, 6:35. I think we'll go ahead and get things started. We wait another 5 minutes. So before I start, everyone have a good spring break? Anyone go anywhere cool? Do anything interesting you want to share? Get to work. That's lame.
I got sick and watched basketball.
Get sick and watch basketball. You watch UC blow a 22-point lead.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
The statistics on this, it was the 7th most unlikely comeback of the entire year of all 351 teams in Division One.
It's just absurd. Absurd. I don't think anybody hears. All right. So we'll go ahead and get through these announcements. You see slacking on the equipment ordering, man. It's approved for our lab. We have the lab space. I requested a 240 volt outlet to be installed in our lab space because I have a 240 volt UPC in there. So, I don't know what they're doing. They're just sitting on their butts, and they get the paper in front of them, and they don't know what to do with it. I don't know why these people along this chain aren't just signing off the paper to get our equipment. But I mean, it's absurd. So when we get the equipment, hopefully, I'm not even going to care about a time frame anymore because I don't trust UC to even give me an accurate one. Hopefully we'll get the equipment sometime maybe this semester. But other than that, we really are going to have to wait on the lab space too, because before our equipment can even be put in it, I've requested that we get whiteboardable walls and new carpeting and stuff. So they're going to like redo the entire lab. But if you guys ever want to see the space we're getting, it is ERC 615, and you can like walk by it and check it out. It's a nice little room, or not little. It's fairly big. It's kind of nice. It's got a door in the middle, and this is just big area. It's gonna look great with a 70-inch plasma screen television in it. But yeah, so that's that. I hope everyone had a great spring break. I'll stop moving. So yeah, I just walk around everywhere. Hope everyone had a great spring break. I think we're going to be doing a Lakota East outreach again sometime soon. And I think Corey will give us a little bit more update on that. You know anything more on that?
So I heard back from Lakota East. He's putting the information up through the IT chain there to try and get us what we need to do the
SSH
stuff. And making sure that we're not going to get firewalled if we plug into the Ethernet port.
Yeah. So they have a very locked down computer lab, which you can't hate on them for, but I mean, we could use SSH. So yeah, when that happens again, if anybody else wants to come along and work together with some high school students, we can we could get together like a pre-meeting before we visit and come together, come up with some like cyber sexy stuff, and we could go there and all of us can like kind of work with the students and help them out. That'd be cool. Just if you guys want to put it on your calendar, Cincinnati B-Sides is on May 12th. Registration's still not open yet. I'm waiting for it to be open. It's going to be at the 20th Century Theater. Where is that?
In Oakley.
In Oakley.
If you've been like to the center of Oakley, it's a big theater that's really old looking.
So B-Sides is great. Free drink tickets. That's the best part. Just kidding. The best part's the presentations and stuff. So I highly recommend B-Sides. We should totally have a presence. Let's hear from Hayden on the OC3.
So we're still working on the OC3 website. If you don't know what that is or you don't remember, it's there's Ohio. The state of Ohio is putting together this big cyber consortium with like 1 million companies and schools and setting up cyber ranges. And UC is going to have one of the cyber ranges, and that's and so we're. In order to score brownie points with them, we're taking care of the website that they're going to launch for this thing, which is launching. I should really know the launch date, but it's in like it's sometime in April, and so there was a meeting on Tuesday up in Columbus that a bunch of I don't know, board of people or whatever. Vicky Baker, who's the UC director of cyber initiatives.
People who are really close to the governor of the
state. People who are important and have fancy titles, and they generally liked it. The site that we've put together, which you can see a screenshot of up there, and it's we had made another website that looked kind of like this that I showed last week, and it was we got feedback from OARNet, which is like Ohio's like their people who run all their servers and websites and stuff, that they use Drupal for a lot of their sites, and so I figured. And so it sounded like they wanted me to go with Drupal, and I hadn't done much work on the other website, so we switched to Drupal and rebuilt basically the same looking website, and they liked it. And I have like a giant list of feedback, and there's a bunch of stuff that I didn't get implemented because they moved the meeting up to Tuesday at the last minute, and I was kind of caught with my pants down. Yeah, we've got the so that website's coming along and should be in the next few weeks that it'll be wrapped up and going live. So yeah, and that's you can see what it looks like, and it'll be super cool.
I don't know if you guys know how big of a deal this is, because yeah, I mean, it may just be a website, but this is the website for the state of Ohio entire cyber range or cyber corridor initiative to spread the cybersecurity education. I mean, this is a pretty high-profile project, and Hayden's been doing a great job with it. So I mean, let's just give him a short round of applause, dude, because he's doing great. That's really awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Hayden. Sure. It's going to be awesome when that's up, and Ohio is like, dang, this is an awesome site. Nothing for public affairs. Weekly content. Corey.
So the first thing I'm going to talk about this week, they're calling it Mosquito Attack. Right now it hasn't actually been used in the wild at this point, and we'll get into that a little bit more, but it was demonstrated by this group of researchers in, I think it's Israel, just how you can get computers to communicate across an air gap. They demonstrated a couple of months back how to do this even through how to communicate through a Faraday cage.
Holy shit.
Yeah,
That's insane.
And these guys do a lot of these hardware hacks so that you can communicate across air gaps, just using hardware. They've done stuff with like heat sensors and other stuff, and I'll get into how you can find out a little bit more about that in just a second. But so what this exploit is talking about doing is using these ultrasonic waves by reversing the effects of speakers, headphones, all of that in order to send sound to another computer through these ultrasonic waves that are outside of the range of human hearing, so that humans don't notice it's going on. And then on some other device within range of these speakers, headphones, whatever, they have their own speakers, headphones, microphones set up in order to receive sound and translate these sonic waves into actual understandable data.
That's insane.
Yeah, and for anyone who doesn't know, air gap, basically they're saying that there's no actual connection between the devices. They don't share any sort of hardwiring. They don't share a network through Wi-Fi or Ethernet. There's no shared connection. The only connection is their physical proximity to each other and the air that they share. For example,
using ultrasonic waves to basically create a connection.
They're sending sound signals. Basically, like I'm talking to all of you here, I'm sending sound signals to you. They're creating sound signals outside of the range of human auditory hearing, and they are sending those, and they're being picked up by other computers.
One could be your phone, the other could be an infected air-gapped computer that you've manually went in and manually.
Yes, yeah, they're recommended, or what they cited would probably be the most easy way to get the malware onto a device would probably be, you plug in like a USB or something.
Right.
So I believe Northrop Grumman makes use of an air gaps network. I heard from Doug Flick. I don't know if they do it all everywhere, but basically, so that way you can have one computer that's accessible on the internet, and you've got another computer that's only on the internal network. That way your internal network is kept secured, and you don't have to worry about malware getting onto the internal network through the internet. That's kind of the idea behind it.
It's pretty commonly known as like the golden standard if you want to like make sure your devices are kind of safe and within their own little sphere of communication, is you either put it in a skiff wrapped around a Faraday cage and air gap that, and then you're supposed to be safe. But this is some pretty insane stuff.
Yeah, I've got a demonstration that I'm gonna show you guys in just a second. But
don't they typically also air gap the computers that they'll put malware in and actually run heuristics on? Don't they?
Yes, sandbox. Sandbox computers are completely they're completely separate. Yeah.
And also the controllers that control permissions for all the users are typically air gapped as well.
Admin
right?
computers. Yeah.
All your passwords. And everything.
The very important servers.
Yeah. So the only real downside to this is you kind of have to get it onto this closed network device, and then you have to get something onto an open network device within hearing range of the closed network device. So not only did you have to get in physical proximity, you have to maintain a device within physical proximity as it's transmitting data.
Spies, man.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's probably not like super high risk if you're doing like a decent job vetting your employees, but...
This is Cold War era tactics being implemented with today's technology.
Yep, so I'm going to go ahead and...
Well, I mean, during the Cold War, they would have like these devices that they could point to hear, and they would be so sensitive that you could be in a building some way over there, and it point and be able to listen to the whole room here.
So it's also kind of like in football games, you know, the big round domes, clear domes on the side. That's kind of what that is.
Yeah.
It's focusing on like the quarterbacks. You can hear
I want to
say,
see
like,
this.
Yeah, so this is going to be a demonstration of them sending an image.
They sent an image?
Yeah, they're transferring an image over an air gapped, or between two air gapped computers. It's just this little pixelated
It's the
panda.
panda.
Yeah, so
what's the bit rate on this?
they were somewhere between 11 bits and about 200 bits per second. So not anywhere close to what you might want, but
That's enough to send
Yeah.
binary.
yeah, it is. And they were able to achieve a distance of about 9 meters, so that's 28, 29 feet, which is pretty substantial
You could
when you
send,
consider
like-
they're using like basic speakers.
Yeah, it's correlating to the propagation.
hmm
You could send like an MP3 every month.
Yeah, I imagine like if you put up like some megaphones or something, obviously you're probably going to be able to go a little bit further, maybe with a slightly better bit transfer rate, but
I mean, a huge way to maintain stealth when, you know, like our government, I guess, infects other people is they just very slowly push a little bit of code through, a little bit of update in the machine that they've compromised, and wait until they have everything they need set up, and then they flick the trigger. So this kind of stuff is totally...
yeah.
There's totally
This
some
this
people
second
probably
link
looking at
is
this
how they did the through a Faraday cage. They managed to transfer signals through between air gapped
via
computers.
audio, via the same method.
I don't know if it was via the same method. This one was like several months ago.
I remember
so
there was a
perhaps
story
not.
at some point where it was like using like the minute sounds of the components in the hardware, like not even like speakers and stuff.
I think that was
or,
these
like,
guys, yeah.
Or like the fact that if you do something intensive, the fan will spin up a little bit, stuff
Mhm.
like that.
Yeah, the third one is the actual research paper that they published. If you guys want to check that out, it'll give you a lot more technical detail on how it works. Or if you just want links to some of the different stuff that they've done, like relying on the heat exchange between two computers to siphon passwords and security keys, like holy crap.
These guys are geniuses.
Yeah, these guys do some crazy hardware hacking for this stuff. It's really cool. I definitely recommend you guys check out these articles.
You want to hit the present, so it's
Yeah, where is that?
Top right.
top right.
Top right.
BitTorrent.
Present. Yep, I see it. Okay, so a BitTorrent software called MediaGet. I don't use it, but apparently it's pretty popular. They were actually compromised through a supply chain attack similar to what we saw with CCleaner back in September.
Good old supply chain attacks.
With a malware that's being called Dewfoil, also called Smoke Loader. And they were using it to mine bitcoins on the infected PCs not Bitcoin, Electronium, the cryptocurrency, on the victim's CPU. And it managed to infect computers in Russia, Turkey, and the Ukraine, almost 400,000 computers in total.
That means we did it.
Before,
That means we did it. Russia, Turkey, Ukraine,
No,
absolutely.
it doesn't mean we did it.
Russia,
Point
Turkey.
stores it.
Yeah, we did that, dude.
because,
Who knows?
well,
Or maybe
it's possible that this was just a criminal operation because Bitdefender actually put an update out within like an hour, and like regular Bitdefender was catching it as it was, and they were already like they were really on the spot with this one.
The
So kudos to them.
Ukraine seems to be like the sandbox for testing your malware to the world.
Yeah,
It almost seems
apparently.
like almost every single huge attack is really targeted or hit the Ukraine.
Mhm.
Not every single one, but a decent chunk.
because they're using older technology.
Exactly. Damn old technology.
Like, you know, a lot of these hacks that we're talking about, let's say hardware hack for the Wi-Fi, for your Wi-Fi router,
Mhm.
okay? So they find that type of thing, and, you know, if you don't have a router, well, here in the U.S., we may very well update our routers quicker than everybody because we can afford to. But if you go out to, like, Turkey and Ukraine, there are
Ukraine's
certain areas
not a wealthy country.
where they're not that wealthy, they're not ever going to change it. you know, the technology is behind, and almost everybody in there tinkers with it anyway. So it seems to me like it's kind of like it's almost like the Wild West for the digital or the cyber world, right? Do you, Frank?
It is an interesting place.
Right in the middle between the West and Russia, like
It's
Russia,
really,
China.
it's
and
really
the
far
West,
east. I mean, it might as well be Russia, but it's
Exactly.
not.
Right,
Yeah.
but it is the West's portal into Russia.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to go ahead and one more time just give kudos to Windows Defender on this, because everyone kind of tends to look at Windows Defender like, oh, that's the freeware that's not even as good as normal freeware.
Windows Defender's not bad.
No, it's not. And like I said, like these guys, like if you had Windows Defender on, it caught this coming in, despite the fact that they were talking about the binary for Dufoil was 98% the same as the regular media-get.exe file that was being replaced. The binary was 98% the same, and it caught this immediately.
It's just the hash. Probably just checking the hash.
Yeah, are they storing like the hashes for some of these applications, the current?
I would assume so.
That they're storing the hashes.
What they actually cited as being key in stopping this was actually their AI-based machine learning and their behavior analysis.
That's crazy.
So my guess is the behavior analysis, they saw it wanted to go ahead and start using this extra CPU utilization it's not supposed to need.
It's never used before.
Yep. And that's probably what they're like, something's going on here. Because they've actually seen malware like Dufoil that goes out and it tries to mine for the cryptocurrencies. They see that sort of thing all the time. And when they noticed this, they start looking into it, and that was when they figured out that it was MediaGet.exe, the actual software running your BitTorrent client, was actually what was hosting this. And the way it happened is when MediaGet.exe downloaded a file called update.exe from their servers, it was not a legitimate update.exe. It had been poisoned to go out and find and download this unsigned MediaGet.exe that was entirely the same as the previous MediaGet.exe, but it also had this mining software tacked into it. And if you want, let's see here. This goes into some serious detail on just how this sort of attack works. They've got some really good charts here. I especially like this one. So when this update.exe, it was in fact signed, but it was signed by a third party that it was completely unrelated to MediaGet. And so when MediaGet went to do their check for certificate certification and signing, yes, this is a legitimate sign, but not the signed file that they were looking for, but that was enough to get past MediaGet.exe's authentication check.
That's lazy. That's some lazy hacking right there.
Yep.
They could, if they supply chain detected, they could totally have signed the actual company.
Yep. And so then this update.exe that's been poisoned downloads MediaGet.exe, completely not legitimate. They go into a lot of detail explaining how it works and how it is that they managed to detect it. Let's see here. They've got, so this is where they're explaining all that stuff. I was just talking about the third-party certification and all that. Down here, any second now.
Man, they're going straight down to the assembly.
Yep. Yeah, no, they give a lot of detail. I strongly recommend, if this is a field that you want to be in, that you at least give this article a skim through on your own. Here they're explaining kind of how the malware works. So if you want to know more on that, go ahead and check this out. It gives a lot more detail than the Hacker News, which was basically just a summary of this file. So go to the Microsoft explanation on this if you want to check out more on that. Oh, is that okay?
Oh, okay. We need to copy pasta the slides into there real quick. Technical difficulties. Un momento.
I need like.
So at this point, all y'all should probably get on your Ubuntu and Debian, and preferably Calyx, Kali Linux, Calyx machine.
New thing. Calyx.
There's probably a distro called. There's a distro called everything.
Right. Alright. Sorry for the maze.
Apology not accepted.
Yeah, I know. I'm slacking.
No pun intended.
Alright. So now, all we have to do is refresh this guy. It should come here in a second. One of these days. If I paste the slides in there, man, it should totally...
Is this like the wrong link or something?
No, this is right. Let me...
They show up on my computer.
I don't know why they're not showing.
They don't show on my computer either.
Maybe if we just go... I'll just pull them from... Do this. Should do the same thing. Alright. So we are finishing up our indirect recon. This is direct recon. Yeah, this is just recon. We're finishing up our recon. This is definitely not the same link. No, this is not the link.
That's what I did not. I think that's the one.
I need to set up a technical difficulty slide for the stream.
Yeah, I know.
And get like
oh yeah, no, that's the one. That's the one.
Mexican hat dance playing in the background.
Okay, yeah, this is the one. All right, so we're finishing up recon, and spring break is not for co-op students. Chris, you want to come up and help us out?
Might still be some notes on the slides.
There's still some notes on the slides.
All right. We're just going to move through some tools today, kind of go around what's in the Kali Linux tool set for us. If you don't have your Linux distro open, go ahead and do it now. First tool we're going to start out with is MassScan. I'm sure everyone in here has used Nmap already. MassScan is an asynchronous version of Nmap, which basically means it throws packets out, and then if it happens to get a response back, it'll log it. It is, I think, 1,000,000 times faster than Nmap. It's really fast.
That sounds like a good way to anger your network admin.
It's a good way to make people angry. Yeah. Yeah.
Shut down some factories.
Yeah. The people who developed it actually scanned the entire internet in 6 minutes using it. It's pretty fast.
If you got the computing power.
Yeah.
And the bandwidth.
And the bandwidth, yeah.
Yeah. Just don't do this one while you're on campus, please. Yeah.
Or if you do it from his computer.
That too.
Do it from like a third world country.
Yeah.
Where there's no laws preventing you from doing it.
Yeah. If I wanted to put my computer on here, how would I do that?
Huh?
If I want to put my laptop on, can I do that?
Oh yeah. Just connect that cable.
This cable?
Yeah, that cable, and you press this button.
Oh, cool.
So this is somewhat follow alongable. So you
Actually, don't
totally
press the button. It did it on
follow
its own.
along. At least some of mine are too.
All right. Let me go back here a little bit.
Unlike my last one.
I got some.
Command plus that.
Yeah. Command plus.
You know, like scroll in.
So if you don't know, there's the tools subdomain on the Kali Linux website. It shows you every single tool that's in here and what general sections it kind of falls into. There's tools that are repeated on here. This is really small.
Oh.
It's too large. All right. So we're right here today, and then we further broke this up into about 7 sections. You find this one. I'm showing off now. Oh, this is also very small. So there's about 7 main sections that these fall into, although some of them occupy definitely more than one of those. So we've got Nmap over here somewhere.
You've got it. It's just
Right
that
there.
blue.
Yeah, and that's actually.
It's kind of hard to see in this screen.
And Wireshark is too below it.
Yeah, Wireshark. We've already gone over both of those a little bit, so we're just going to skip past them. They're pretty great to learn, though. We went over some Wireshark.
We did Wireshark a little bit, maybe last semester.
We went. Yeah. Probably go over it again.
We can touch it again.
Yeah. InSpy is a pretty cool one. It crawls through LinkedIn profiles and links them all together, finds information. That's all indirect recon. There's an AD scraper, and we all know UC is basically just one large AD server.
Most every single
Yeah.
corporation, business that operates with Windows is just a massive AD, Active Directory, which basically holds all of your access rights and who you are and privileges and stuff.
There's an interesting tool called Eyewitness, which will basically find any remote desktop server without credentials on it, credentials protecting it, and log into it and take a snapshot of the desktop. And the people who made Mascan actually combined them both, and there's a full hour-long talk on DEF CON just about what kind of things they found. Yeah. And then Social Engineer Toolkit, we went over that a little bit. There's a lot to go in that one. And then I think we're going to go over most of the green things today.
And I have a special tool add.
Oh yeah.
It's not on here.
It's not Kelly's. Lots of stuff. Lots and lots of stuff. Alright. What was that? So use some Mascan real quick. Mascan. Can you see that?
Yep.
Alright.
There you go.
So it's kind of similar to Mmap. We just specify a port that we want to scan. And then you can't specify a single host. You actually have to specify an address range. I don't have. Oh my god. So I'll just
So
do.
you just set the mask to 32.
Yeah, you could do 32 and then give it a host. That's cheating though. So we can do like 24 and scan the 127 network range, which shouldn't be anything. I gotta sudo it. As you can see, it scanned the entire network range that quickly. It was 100, or not 200, 256 hosts.
Do a /8. See how long it takes.
/8. It might take a little bit. So if you don't know what the slash here at the end is, it's basically how many octets up you'll go in the
Do you remember
Actually, how many
we talked
bits?
about sitter
Bits.
notation
Bytes.
in
Bits.
octets
Yes.
earlier? Do a lot of us remember this, or do we want to cover it real quick? But yeah, I'll just cover it real quick. So you have all these octets here. There's 4 octets. Each of these octets is essentially like 8 bits, and the maximum amount of range of of 8 bits is 0 to 255. And by doing this /8 here, you are saying I'm only excluding from my search the first 8 bits, the first octet. So I'm going to scan through 0 to 255, 0 to 255, 0 to 255, and every single possible combination of those 3 octets. So that's a ton of addresses, and Mascan is going through it, but
I don't have their
6
custom drivers
hours.
installed, so it's probably not going to go that fast.
yeah, it's going to take a while, but that's a ton of addresses. So you
46
kind of
hours,
understand.
not
So
bad.
like /24 excludes the 1, first three octets and keeps the last octet because you have 32 32 minus 8, 24. Yeah. And then or maybe
It's 24.
Yeah. And then so you're only iterating through that. So that's CIDR notation. CIDR.
All right. One more thing to note here is it says SYN stealth scan. This is kind of deprecated now, but it used to be considered stealthy to send 2 synchronized packets over TCP because most firewalls used to not pick that up. That's just a fun piece of trivia. I don't think that'll get you anywhere now.
Except in the Ukraine.
Yeah, except in
Russia,
the malware sandbox of the world.
It may not work here, but still. I mean,
So
if
it's
you went down
one-
to South America, you find vulnerabilities everywhere.
So the /8 CIDR range is 16,777,216 different unique IPs. So a lot. Cool.
Yeah.
We don't have to wait for this.
I'm not going to wait for this.
I've got 47 hours to kill.
Let's see if anything came back.
Nothing should.
Nothing should. If something
I don't
comes
know.
back, we should be.
My computer might.
The 127 range is entirely just dedicated to low blows.
It should just be my computer that we're scanning.
Okay. And it also saved its progress so that you can install it as a cron job and then do it, let's say, after you go to bed every night until it's all done.
Yeah. All right. Hit select on here to flip back.
Oh yeah.
What's the install instructions for masscan?
I think you just do apt install masscan. That's what I did.
Yeah, so if you have Kali, I think they have masscan on the repository. If you don't have Kali, I'm almost positive this tool exists in what is known as the Pen Testers Framework, PTF. Makes installing these tools and managing these tools stupid simple.
Or you can get it from their Git and build it yourself. Whole lot of options to get this one.
Or just Git pull.
Yeah.
Git clone.
Yeah. All right. This is not my tool.
Oh, this is my tool. This is kind of like the all-in-one mega tool for Recon. It does a lot of things. It does a lot of things very well. This is kind of a script kiddie tool because it is a tool of tools. So it automatically will pull in from a number of different other tools. Like masscan, if I don't think it uses masscan, but like that would be an example. And let's do this here. Yeah, just need this. So Sniper is really cool, and I highly recommend y'all check it out. So I'll just run the thing off here for now. Okay. I'll flip it over for now.
Doing its own.
Yeah, it auto flips a lot of times. You flipped it back to the.
I got it. Yeah, so it can automatically collect whois information, DNS records, more basic recon info, what we talked about. It will do Google dorking for you and automatically open up your web browser with a whole bunch of Google dorks based on the information you give it. So you really only feed it a website, and from that website, it's going to cross-correlate anybody on LinkedIn who's associated with it, all the records of who got it, who they're associated with. It does a lot of stuff. It'll find all subdomains. It'll brute force and find all subdomains. It'll find all domains associated with that server. It'll enumerate through all encryption ciphers. So a lot of times you'll see different forms of encryption ciphers that are accepted for communication to that server. And based on the encryption ciphers used, you can kind of determine if something is vulnerable or not. So it'll test all of those. It'll test user agents. So it will connect to that web application or that site and say, oh, I'm iOS 9 iPhone, iOS 10 iPhone. I'm a Internet Explorer 6 web browser. And it will see what encryption it uses for all of those. It'll take screenshots of every single website that it finds. It'll also scan for all common vulnerabilities, and it will store everything it finds into a nice report, and it does a lot more than I just explained up here. So all you guys should totally get Sniper. It's just reconnaissance, so it does nothing but pull what's out there if you do the -O and the -RE commands. So we should all run git clone that. So you could just search Sniper, SN1PER, and I'll wait to move on until we can get some people there. But it's basic. The use of it's really basic once you have it installed. So I mean, all you're going to do is git clone it into a directory, cd into that directory, and then run its install shell script. Basically, it has a couple different options here, but there's much more if you run sniper --help. It'll just feed out all the options that you can use it with. But we see the target site. So, for instance, I'm going to show you an example of when I ran it on revolutionuc.com. And funny enough, they actually, for their SSH, use admin as their username and password. But don't go breaking into Revolution UC's
You're not
servers.
supposed to tell people. You tell people I found their password. You don't tell them.
Well,
what it is.
yeah, the tool brought it up.
You find
I
that
didn't do it. So also you could organize every single one of your searches with different workspaces. So you could do -W and say like Revolution UC for that website, or Kroger.com, or just Kroger for the workspace name, and the target site would be Kroger.com. The -O stands for OSINT, so it's going to pull from LinkedIn, it's going to pull from Facebook, it's going to pull from any social media, open source, just intelligence it can grab. And the -RE stands for it's going to do Recon, so it's going to look into the whois information, it's going to look on who's the server that's hosting it, all of that. You can run it without this -O and -RE, and it's going to do a lot more stuff that's more nefarious that you shouldn't do. So Sniper also can just do this, which is the full gambit. This runs everything. You know, this is just your target site, your workspace name. You can even just do Sniper target site. You don't have to do a workspace name, but the workspace name is nice because it allows you to kind of organize your results. So if you're doing ethical hacking and you're doing a red team for, like, say, a classroom, and you're given access to like some web app that you need to do, or some CTF that has a web app, a vulnerable web app, you can run Sniper against it and you can get a ton of information from it. It also pulls in tools like Nmap, so it will automate Nmap, and it will automate a bunch of other tools for discovery. So if you don't want to do any OSINT or reconnaissance on websites, you can just do it on IP ranges, and it will do your discovery for you, and also store it into a nice report format. And you just do a SIT notation, like we just explained in the last tool, and it will just run discovery on that IP range. And then you can run Sniper just the same way by typing in stealth, and I don't know exactly what this stealth does. I didn't dig that down deep into it, but I would assume that when it's doing stuff like scanning for other, I guess, open ports and stuff, it's using SYN packets to try to touch IPs to see what's going on and what have not. So those are the basics. Does anyone have it already installed or installing it right now?
By the way, I just discovered the hard way. If your OS is not Debian based, do not run that install script, because it will not check if it's Debian based, but it will not work if it's not.
Okay.
Debian based.
It should be Debian based, and it works perfectly
Ubuntu,
in Kali.
Kali.
Yeah.
There's a Docker image for it too if you go to the GitHub page.
Yeah, go to the GitHub page and check out their Docker image. If you have Docker, you could probably just download that and you'll be able to run it right away.
I tried running it on OS X and I kept seeing apt get command not found.
Oh yeah, yeah. No,
and I was like,
definitely not for that. So I'll flip this over and we're gonna see what a little report is like. But I'm not gonna run it because it does take a while because it just goes through so many different tools. Boom. So here is, so after running it, it brought up for me a Firefox window. So let's see, I can Control plus. And you can see this is a scan I did on Revolution UC. So This is the OSINT portion of it. You can see it's pulling up all of these websites. We can see that revolutionuc.com actually got ranked in the Alexa rating top 1 million. If you guys don't know what Alexa is, Alexa is the Alexa ranking list is the top million or so pages on the internet, and Revolution UC got in the top million, which is kind of.
I hope no one at home was watching this next to their Echo.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. Amazon owns both the Alexa product and they own like Alexa, the site rankings. I don't know why they have two products completely unrelated with the same name, but they do.
So we can see also from this open source search that they're hosting their server on Amazon Technologies. Their name server is kip.ns.cloudflare.com. So they're probably using Cloudflare, or Amazon's probably using Cloudflare to mitigate denial of service attacks, because this tool will also check if you get a different hosting server when it doesn't attack from when it visits the site normally. So that's kind of some interesting tidbit of information that it will feed back to you. See IP addresses. Wait, on this page?
On the website.
On the website? Okay, we'll do that here in a second.
Or some other stuff.
Automatically query Shodan, and it will just tell you its previous, locations on where it was hosted, and some more details about that. And like I said, I mean, it will go through. I don't think it found anything on census. I'm not going to go through and take the time to explain absolutely everything that it's doing here, but it is just a really, really cool tool. We
a lot of good sites in it. Wow.
Security report summary. It'll just tell us about, once again, that's who's hosting it, its location.
This is actually security headers is about. There's a bunch of headers you can put in HTTP that you should do if you're trying to make your site like really top of the line secure. It's putting all these in red. And in reality, all of these are like if you're a super nerd about security, then you turn all these on, but most of them aren't a big deal.
So here's some like cross-site scripting protection headers that they don't have set properly. And
it's considered like going above and beyond to set most of these. It's pretty rare to see them set.
But regardless, it is nice to know this information about a site. We have
SSL Labs is also a very good reporting tool.
Yep. So it grades the quality of their SSL certs.
And you can, if you click on one of those IP addresses, it gives you a full report, and it goes into detail. It shows you all the ciphers that they allow and stuff. I recommend clicking on one of those reports.
And I didn't even open up these pages. This was what Sniper opened up for me, just by running it on their website. This is this again. It checked revolutionuc.com with a slash after it, just because I don't know why I wanted to look for subdomains. Here's Google Dorking. It's looking for username, password, logins for root and administration. So I mean, we have the login page for Revolution UC. We got the reset password link for Revolution UC. Yeah, we see some of the CTF teams. Clearly, those are going to pop up because the CTF we hosted is going to hit some of those keywords there. Some of the other Google Dorks return nothing. Nothing. I can't see this on my computer, so I'm going to have to go up here.
Could do Control Tab.
And then it also Google Dorks for the people who have been associated with that site. So this is public information, but here are all the LinkedIn profiles, like Jonah Beck. He's the guy that actually is behind the who is information of Revolution UC. He's the guy who registered the domain. And you can see a lot of these other Google Dorks didn't return. That's only one portion of what the Sniper tool can do. We can also do Sniper Loot.
Might make that a little bigger.
Yeah, let's zoom in. Yeah, do we want to hit the lights at all?
This one's kind of hard to see.
Is it easier to see now?
Yeah, it's readable.
Want to hit the lights? Light, yeah. So I think this one is Rev UC, and it basically will import a complete in-map scan of the entire anything it found attached to that website. Here it is. It's going to open up a nice little Yeah, this is a server. Don't mind that. It's going to open up a nice little GUI in your web app, so you can kind of go through and see what it's found. Here's some screenshots it took while it was moving along. One is port 80 and port 443. We can see OSINT. It pulled down some documents. We can look at if it found any emails associated with it. It didn't. We can see if it found anything with that. It didn't. What's some other cool stuff on here? Let's do domains. So this is, I'll zoom in on this too. It picked up all the domains associated with it. So there's status.revolutionuc.com, live.revolutionuc.com, slack.revolutionuc.com. So it picks up other domains with that same domain that you put in your search, which is helpful if you're trying to find what else it's attached to. There, this one got ctf.revolutionuc.com, which is our capture the flag website. Here are some of the IPs it pinged. These are just on the local address. I don't.
That's here you see is about the. It's all the static IPs.
Yeah, it's just some static IPs.
It's outside the building DNS, so everyone can access it.
Let's see. So I mean, as you guys can see, I don't want to take up too much time with just this one tool, but web, nothing there.
All right, jump in here.
Yeah, jump in.
All right. So this tool missed something pretty easy. How do I open a tab on this? It's not ready. If you ever want to know where you shouldn't go on a website, just put robots.txt as your destination.
You forgot UC.
Did I? Oh god. Where are we going?
So you guys who downloaded Sniper, feel free to like run a scan against like anything Kroger.
It takes a while to install.
It does.
So-
It's installing a lot of tools.
Every one of your controls is backwards from my computer. Every single one. Alright, so it tells us not to look at this sitemap. And if you don't know what...
It's the site map.
Yeah. If you don't know what robots.txt is, it basically tells search engines what not to index. So if you're Google dorking, you're probably not going to find anything on here. If we go through this sitemap, there's some fun stuff on here. That looks interesting.
Oh, if you want, I've got an example of a site with a really egregiously bad robots.txt.
Yeah. And typically everything in your robots.txt should be password protected. I mean, this kind of is, but it's really not. So this is the dashboard for RevUC. This is their entire login method, is an API key. And we'd already established that they kind of might be open to cross-site scripting. At some point, one of their admins will probably click fetch registrants all. And if you possibly, you shouldn't do this, but if you did, put your cross-site script on as your name, it would show up on this page, and you could grab their API key. Yeah. Don't do that, though.
So good old.
And hypothetically, if
good
you did
old
that, the key would be.
the hackathon website.
It's pretty.
Can I
I
show?
would say, oh, but
Can I show an example of a site with a really bad
We
robots.txt?
got one more thing to show.
Oh, okay, sure.
We gotta be quite
Yeah.
We just learned.
we're not doing anything malicious.
No, we're just looking.
Oh, wait.
All right.
We just need
We're,
to
we're
all
spreading
tell
awareness
Revolution
on
UC
what
that we
not to
found this
do.
vulnerability.
Exactly. This
And
is
then we don't know
ethical hacking.
service.
Yeah.
We're penetrating.
Yeah, let's tell them about their vulnerabilities and let's send that message to every single port on every one of their servers
So
repeatedly until they fix it.
It'll have like a logo on it and everything. Yeah.
this is also the
And then
Oh.
AJ will get a black. AJ will get a black hat. Everyone else has white hats.
this is all the JavaScript running on that page. If you look, it's literally just it does a single fetch request. It says go to this URL and give it these values. this would be trivial to attack. Yeah. So now you know. Don't do this. At least minify your JS. Make it hard to read.
Yeah.
That's not much of an obstacle. Like, there's a browser extension you can get that unminifies minify JS.
It's another
Does anyone have
step.
Sniper
though.
installed yet? Yeah, you played with it at all? A little bit. It's real cool, dude.
Yeah.
I highly recommend if you don't want to wait 15 minutes doing -o-re.
Here, so.
Yeah. I just wanted to.
This
So
sounds
this
like
is,
it'd be incredibly a good use for your parents' home computers, like when you're at home.
It's great
and there's a
for
computer that
non-malicious
nobody's using, you know what I
intent.
mean? You can go in there.
I hit my own home network.
If you want to like search your home network and you want to see everything on your home network and whether or not it's vulnerable to common vulnerabilities, I mean, it will check for Heartbleed vulnerability. It will check for, it checks for a whole gambit.
There's an Nmap string that'll check for Heartbleed.
I think it utilizes.
So
that.
this is I imagine a bunch of people in here are probably FC Cincinnati fans. This is the league they play in, and this is USL Soccer. This is the professional, like second division of professional soccer in the entire United States. Their robots.txt explicitly list out every single page on their site that they don't want you to see. It's like /documents is the most interesting one. It's where they post like all the documents that they're like sharing with internally. They decided to make a page that was public with a really predictable URL, and they just put documents that here, and it's huh?
Is that their entire website?
Yeah, they just have like a ton of documents here, and if I recall correctly, let's see.
PHP.
Here we go. Here is their like guidelines for how internal document, not for public distribution. Oops. Like they just have a page where you can find everything they don't want you to have, and they just made it so that they're
What's Busch Gardens?
huh?
That's a
It's a flyer maybe for.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff isn't that interesting, but like the operations manual, that's like all their rules for clubs, and it's like they just have this like list of like every page they don't want you to
Adam test page.
So everything you put behind a robots.txt file should probably have user authentication protecting it. Yeah,
see this.
probably.
I think I looked at this, it wasn't much
Adam
interesting.
test page.
Yeah, it was just like testing stuff. You can see
Who's
this
Adam?
page. This page is just like super broken. It's just random bits of crap.
So the test didn't work.
Hey, don't talk crap about Adam test page.
That's my
Adam's
favorite
trying hard,
page.
man. Adam's doing his job, or he's not doing his job.
This guy who wrote the code.
Yeah, this was like this was like their like private like internal meeting for all like the team executives, and this is the page for it, and you can go look at the schedule for the events and stuff and register, and yeah, you can register for their winter summit. Please don't.
Don't do that.
Don't do that, but you totally could.
Executive schedule.
Please don't sue me.
Here's the executive schedule in case you guys want to, you know,
Is there anything else you
assassinate
want to
an
say?
executive next door or something like that.
Yeah, of FC. Yeah, it's fucking awesome.
All right, let's move on to the next tool.
Not even assassinate.
So I'll
In case
flip
you're
that
a
over.
hacker and you want to get close to an executive.
They're actually their site
More
is
information.
the other thing I found on their site is their list of players is actually loaded via the Google Spreadsheets API from a Google spreadsheet. And until I emailed them about that Google spreadsheet was set so anyone could edit it. So I very quickly, as soon as I realized it, but I tested I added in one of the cells, I added a player whose name was script tag console.log ASDF.
Yeah.
And sure enough, when I went to look at the player list, ASDF in the console log.
Oh,
So-
jeez. That's hilarious. All right, so
I very quickly hit Control Z and emailed them like, please fix this.
undo.
Yeah.
So we're going to the next tool. This is another one that I did. This is a really cool one. I'm not going to cover Phonify or Intify. Intify is a little weird. Phonify, it's just checking for a phone number on a lot of open source databases. Domainify is going to tell you the existence of a domain. So just like Sniper found all those other domains that was associated with it, this tool will find other domains that may not be associated with Revolution UC at all, but still have that same domain. Or that same Revolution UC in it. It might be a .io or something different like that. SearchFi will look for profile names on tons of platforms. They'll tell you, oh, there's a Revolution UC LinkedIn account or Twitter account, this, that, and the other. Mailify will check if there's emails associated with said domains that you're looking for. And Userify will look for if usernames exist. And there's one tool I don't have up here, but I can show you that, and it's called Alias Generator, where you feed it a first name, last name, city, and birth date, and it will automatically create like over 100 different possible username combinations. So if I put in my name, Anthony Cardarelli, my middle name Joseph or whatever in there, and I did a alias generator, one of the usernames that it generated was Cardar AJ, which is my 6+2. So you can see how some of these tools are pretty useful. Now, if you are on Kali Linux, you can apt install OSR framework, or you can just pip install OSR framework, or if you have the Pen Testers framework, you can just go to the Pen Testers framework and clone the GitHub via that way, or you can just clone their GitHub. Here's how easy it is to use, and let's hop on over. So you guys should see those. Maybe take a little note or something. This is super easy to install. Do we all need to install it still, or does anyone want to wait till they install it here? No?
Man, it's pretty easy to remember.
All right, cool.
That's all.
All right, so let's.
A lot of packages inside of it.
Because I got too many things.
Let's clear. Okay, so we can do searchify, and we'll do this one first. This is just going to, I believe, what was it? Search through domain names or profile names. So this tool is a little buggy. It hasn't been updated that much recently. So if you're on a newer version of Kali Linux, it's just gonna act a little odd. It's gonna give you some error messages. It's just gonna do some things that it shouldn't. It should return here soon with a big list. Should. And just to make sure, service. Check to see if I'm not on there. Okay, we're good. And I'm gonna hit Control C. We're just gonna see if it outputs anything. Okay, it didn't find anything, but you know, let's see if we can run a different one. Let's just do Cincinnati. Who knows? Yeah. So we'll see if this one does it, and you guys feel free to try this thing out on whatever you want to feed it. I'll go ahead and in another tab. I'll see if that returns anything. We'll zoom in here.
General passive information.
All right, and let's do domain-fi.
You can't everybody's always the same way, by the way.
And so here's that. I did domain-fi, and it searched through a bunch of open source databases, and it found that, oh yeah, Revolution EC is indeed a name. It is indeed taken, and this is the IPv4 address of that. It's external one. And oh, and the Cincinnati one just finished. Let's see if we can zoom out so it's like nice looking. My control minus isn't working. All right, it should just be control minus. Oh, it is. Control plus wasn't working. So here we go. We got Twitter Bengals, Twitter U of Cincy, Sinbel MIT something, Facebook CCHMC. So as you can see, it's getting a lot of different profiles, and it's telling you where it got it from, and it's telling you emails associated with them. It's like Cincy Museum. So if you're wondering kind of like, how did Sniper get all this cross-correlated information? How did it pick up all this? Well, you know, probably automated something of like the OSR framework. So it's pretty cool what that can do. And it's super simple. The command line, once again, was just that. Searchify -Q space Cincinnati. So maybe if you can search a friend's name, see what accounts show up on that, et cetera, et cetera. let's do another one here. Let's do mailfi -n, and let's do anyone want to throw out a name? Chicago?
Sure.
Chicago.
What
Chicago.
type of a name are you talking about?
Wow, that returned really quick, and now we're seeing if the password has been leaked on Have I Been Pwned? But we're gonna scroll up here, so we can see a bunch of them like Tuda Noda. That's interesting that they have Tuda Mail on here. Proton Mail, Chicago at Yahoo.com, Chicago at Yandex. So
12 different leagues, 42 different leagues, 45 different leagues.
Chicago needs to get their shit.
it has been leaked. So as you can see, it'll just keep searching, and it will tell you information about those emails. This is a really cool tool.
Gmail's not doing well.
RIP Chicago at Gmail 78. You tried. I'm gonna stop that now.
thought mine was
So once again, for you guys, if you want to see the command line, it's just mailfi-in space Chicago. Now if you get cloned you have to do mailfi.py, because it's the Python script you're running. But the arguments are the same. The same things, you pass it. And I'm gonna do one more here. Let's do a little zoom in. Okay, I guess you're not gonna zoom in normally, so I'll do it for you.
Might be Control Shift plus, since plus you have to hit Shift.
Ah, there you go.
That's why they pay me the big bucks.
Yeah, there you go. So now we're gonna find usernames. Anyone want to throw me out a username? I should search.
Boat.
Give me something else.
You could do me, Oxguy3. I want to see how bad I am.
I'll just search Oxguy. We'll see. I don't know if this is gonna come up with much. This searches 284 different platforms, so quite the lot. It'll probably find you. It might take a while.
It's like a really budget version of Maltego.
Known usernames.
This is the budget version of Maltego. Yeah, so, and it's free, huh?
Dude, I'm totally friggin' tinkering with things like that.
Let's see. Oh, here you go. You have a Reddit account, Oxguy.
None of these are me. I don't use
You gotta put the 3 in.
Oxguy. You gotta put the 3.
You didn't use the regular expression.
Oh, okay.
I don't know who any of these are. I
eBay.
never use not without a 3.
Disgusting.
I do not have an Xtube account. Oh my god.
Own up to it. Come on.
DeviantArt, man. There you go.
None of these are me. You didn't put the 3 on.
Do I want to put the 3
I
on?
think they're all here.
Why 3?
Because
Why not 4?
I've had this
Five.
username since second grade. I'm guessing what
Then it would be 2.
when I was creating my Yahoo email account, I tried Oxguy and it wouldn't let me. I think at the time I thought someone else had it. In hindsight, it was probably Oxguy wasn't enough characters.
Yeah.
So
Oxguy 3, man.
Oxguy 3.
So as you can see, this thing is a little glitchy because at the top.
Yeah, there you go.
After
These look like me.
you have a Keybase account.
I do have a Keybase.
And a Newgrounds account. So yeah, you see, it gives me this errors, but it still works. So
Google Sheet errors.
whatever. You have a Wikipedia account,
I do.
Twitter account,
You're a nerd.
chess.com, my man.
I do. I don't think I've played a single chess game, but I do remember making an account.
Just played one time, probably.
Unicode encode.
Whoa, what?
Right? Played one game.
So it's
I've
just,
not been on Minecraft forum in forever. I'm sure whatever's on there is really cringy.
Yeah. So you can look at emails, you can look at usernames, you can look at domains associated with these. OSR framework's really cool, and if you can combine something like OSR framework with Sniper, who knows what you can do. The sky's the limit. So I think I'm done with this tool, and I guess who's
That's next.
next? URL crazy. Do you want to take this one?
Kind of neat. Alright. I don't have this installed.
Ouch. I'm gonna take this back now.
Yeah, this is another default. Is this Cali?
This is Cali.
Can I steal it for like 10 minutes?
Yeah, I don't care.
I don't have it.
I don't know if I have it. But okay.
I can't believe a fucking Xtube account came up.
You dirty ox guy, you.
I'm not Oxguy. I'm Oxguy.
Sure.
So the next tool is URL crazy. So if you know what typo squatting is, it's basically if you have facebook.com and you have Facebook with 3os.com, eventually someone will make a typo when they're. What are you doing?
I messed up.
When they go to your website and go to the wrong website. This is commonly used by phishing scams and clickjackers, although most
You didn't catch it.
Although most really big companies will typically use a tool like URL Crazy to find what web domains they need to purchase and redirect to themselves. So, let's flip back over here. We might have this one installed. I'm going the wrong way. Is it minus, AJ?
Just control minus.
Control minus. I can't see the type.
Yeah, you gotta look on the main screen.
Oh.
Or just look ahead.
I don't know, crazy. Cool. So, back here. So, uses for this are you could use it against a site and then buy a domain on places like Namecheap and then just kind of squat there for a while and see if anyone comes along your way. Alright. I did not prepare this tool. The person who did is not here. So, it actually does a lot of really interesting things. I flipped way too early. We're just going to go back and forth for the rest of the night.
It auto flips when it detects a source coming up or going down.
Yeah. So it actually can emulate typos from different kinds of keyboards. So you can specify a keyboard Dvorak. I don't think.
No, the Dvorak's a very efficient keyboard.
Yeah. What? I know what it is. I just didn't know how to say it. Dvorak. Right. Which is interesting because I don't know reasons. Most people aren't using Dvorak though, so it's good. Yeah. Got all the major kinds here. You can see if any domains you're finding are actually registered and popular with Google. So people are making typos continuously. And it'll make sure you don't look for it. Human readable output. Yeah. Alright, let's do it. Go crazy.
You could probably install this with apt-get URL Crazy if you have Kali.
Possibly.
Otherwise, probably just find the GitHub.
Alright, let's do
Own that shit.
I thought we were supposed to use that.
Very
We were supposed to use apps.
Oh, apt, yeah, this is true. I'll fall on my own sword.
use apt-get.
The apt-get. Plus, it always sucked anyway.
What should we do? Google?
It often had dependency issues. That's why they wanted to work.
UCEDU. Let's do UCEDU.
I forgot the Y off here already.
Cord.
Words. Alright. There's one.
You see that, dude?
So, not a whole lot there. So common typos, and then you could parse this, shove it into a DNS mass server, and then just sit on all of these. Alright. That's about as interesting as this tool is.
But you know, I'm sure people use this tool for purposes that are probably not the most good.
Yeah, that was 5 characters and had about 50 typos. So we do like facebook.com.
Probably gonna do like Facebook.
A whole lot more.
Yo, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So these are all possible
Mess ups if you screw it up when you type it in. Yeah.
so that you can kind of cover some
Potential typo squat DNS locations. Yeah.
So if you were a fisher of credentials and you wanted to set up a Facebook that looked like Facebook but was not Facebook, go to one.
Yeah.
I don't think we should go to any of those sites.
Absolutely not.
Those do not look like good sites to
Although,
visit.
this isn't my computer, so
Don't go to those sites on my computer.
Facebook.ru.
You can go. You guys can feel free to go to those sites.
Go to this one.
I bet you if you go to Facebook.
Go on a virtual machine.
Yeah, that's true.
Like I bet you if Facebook.
Alright.
Is
Let's look back. Alright. So, not a super powerful tool by itself, but you can use it in conjunction with other things to accomplish goals. Alright. ACC check. So, this is a tool. This is built in. I did not check. ACC check. It is. So, this is a tool to try to get through Windows domain and into the admin sharing systems, basically. So, every Windows computer, every Windows operating system has the administrator account built in by default. Typically, it's disabled, but most domain users, like school campuses, will re-enable it and give it a non-standard password. There isn't a standard password for it. So this will exploit that, and if you're using a domain level administrator and you get the password for it, it is a password for every admin computer, for the admin account on every computer in that domain. So you get everything. So we already talked about this. UC is basically an interlocking set of Active Directory servers. Blackboard actually directly integrates into that. So yeah, and that physically accesses buildings. So let's flip back.
That is such a nice little setup page.
It is.
Yeah.
I like that.
I'm pretty impressed.
I do have to hit a button here after you hit the button, but
Oh,
yeah.
I'm not as impressed.
I'm sad about that.
I'm actually pretty disappointed now.
Yeah.
So
I thought it was cool.
I wasn't ready, so you gotta press your button again.
No.
I'm getting ahead of myself. So this is pretty simple. It's basically a brute forcer, but not dictionary attacker. So there's only really two flags that most people use with it. The IP list that you want to throw it at, and then potential passwords for the admin account.
Can you do a sitter?
Sitter?
Can you do like IP range?
I don't think it does. I think you have to manually input it. But
Okay.
you could definitely do like nmap SL to poop out all your IPs. Alright. This is a weird screen. Yeah. So, these are your examples, your help page. A couple more
Oh,
flags.
you can pass an IPs.
Can you? Alright, this definitely won't work though.
I don't have any IPD on local host, but yeah,
Right.
whatever.
Single host. You have to give it a flag per single host. Simple password. So, password. End of scan. Nothing happened. I don't really want to play with this tool too much because you
Try
see,
it on ad.uc.edu.
absolutely not.
Definitely not. Don't do that.
But here you actually download an actual password. Like you can download a password.txt file.
There.
Yeah.
So if you guys are wanting
Dictionary
password lists, who remembers when we were covering Hashcat and John the Ripper and we talked about password lists? There's this great website or great GitHub page called SecLists, SecLists, and they have like top 10 million commonly used passwords and stuff like that.
That you can download it as a.
But don't use those on there because it's unethical. We
Yeah.
are ethical hackers,
Don't do it.
and do this when you get paid to do this.
Yeah, I'm gonna flip back. Alright. I don't know how many tools are left.
Might just be mine.
Ssl Strip?
Just read the slide.
Yeah, alright. So this is our last tool for tonight. It's Ssl Strip. It's a tool that you can do man-in-the-middle attacks with. So basically, you'll sit in between a client and a server, and all the traffic will go through your computers through some cryptographic magic. You will see all the traffic in plain text, basically. So these are really hard to prevent. Not hard to prevent. They used to be really hard to prevent because they used to be really, really easy to do. They're less easy to do, I think.
It's because you have to spoof it.
Yeah.
Spoof Wi-Fi network, like you
mean,
do with the Wi-Fi pineapple.
Yeah, if you get a Wi-Fi pineapple or you have the domain server control, this is easy.
But typically you need to have a rogue access point that people are connecting to.
Yeah.
And then when you're running Ssl Strip, since you are their access point, you can see what they're sending and what the server's sending, sit perfectly in the middle, and that's how it can work to break SSL.
So like
The one downside of it is it only works on if sites are up to date on their configuration, then it won't work.
But
Sites
you
have to
can-
be poorly configured.
But you can use Sniper with a domain, and you can check to see what user agent you need to be to get an insecure cipher.
It's not just it's more than just ciphers. That's the issue. It's if you're set up correctly, then it's
if you're on like TLS 1 or 1.2 or stuff like that.
It's more than that. There's a thing called upgrade insecure requests header that you can set that it's basically the server can make it very clear to the client that like it is only HTTPS. And yeah.
No way around that.
Yeah.
Did you want
But there's a lot of
Just
big
go to
sites.
slides and videos.
The one I've seen done in demos is
Right there?
Match.com.
Next slide.
At least at the time of the demo I saw, was vulnerable to this, which is a site that is both very big and very sensitive.
I bet you the soccer ULS is probably.
Oh,
Guarantee
they're
it.
mostly not HTTPS at all, so it doesn't even matter.
We'll bring in some hardware next week, maybe, and play with that.
I have a Wi-Fi pineapple that I can set up a rogue access point in here, and we can do some kind of cool labs like that.
Yeah. All right.
We watch that video, guys.
Just want to watch the video. Your slides are lazy.
Yeah,
Sorry,
you're a
man.
lazy boy.
It was him. He's the lazy one.
Yeah, those are my slides. Hey, that first slide was pretty. Come on.
Ditto.
Video.
And then ARP poisoning
Is that your
something
new like YouTube
really
competitor
cool to look
startup?
into. If you guys have ever messed with that, there's a tool built into Kali called ARP Spoof.
I
That's,
saw that.
that is worth looking into.
What is it?
How long is this video?
What's it
Like
called?
3 minutes.
All right.
3 minutes.
Is there any sound on this
Yeah.
computer? I don't know how to do this.
No.
Just turn on captions.
All right.
We don't get sound.
I didn't set it up for sound because no one told me I
And
had
kind of skip
Alright.
through it so we can see them.
So he's actually using a Wi-Fi pineapple. There is some.
There is sound. Just turn it up.
I don't know where it's coming from.
What the heck, Aiden? I thought we didn't have sound.
I don't have it on the screen. Sorry, stream viewers.
That's what.
RIP stream viewers.
That's all we have.
Oh, the mic's picking it up, so.
Such post data on HTTP sites. So, what does all that mean? Well, basically, I have two machines set up right here. The one on the left is my virtual machine running Kali Linux that's directly connected to my Wi-Fi Pineapple. And then I also have this boring Windows box over here. And the boring Windows box is over at, we're going to use Facebook.com as an example. And I'm at the same website over here on the Linux box. But you'll notice that there's a key difference, and that is that if I take a look at the address bar, I'm actually at https://facebook.com, whereas on my client to the Wi-Fi Pineapple, I'm just at www.facebook.com. So why is that? Well, that's because if I come back over to my browser and take a look, I'm using the Ssl Strip infusion by Whistlemaster. You can grab these from Wi-Fi Pineapple bar. It's pretty quick over-the-air download, and then you should be able to get up and running.
The Wi-Fi Pineapple name is like $100.
All you do is open it up.
It's worth
and
buying.
start. I've
It's
already
cool.
done that. And on my client now, when I go to, say, log into a website with the username deadbeefcoffee at whatever, whatever. I don't know if that's a new TLD. And my lame password. And go ahead and hit login.
My lamp ass word. They got my ass word.
Well, notice that over here, I actually see dead beef coffee at whatever, and my password is lame password. So this is pretty simple. Now we can stop this, we can save this, we've got a history where we can actually view and download the different credentials that we've captured throughout the times. And it's a very simple tool that literally just strips HTTPS out. It strips SSL, but it's a very aptly named utility. It does a lot to hopefully trick the user into thinking that they're actually a secure website. Like, for example, the fave icon. You'll notice in the top right, the top left of this VM right here, it's actually a lock icon, even though it's not actually secure.
That's sneaky.
So
It's a secure lock.
that's pretty much how it works. There's of course technology that thwarts this, like HSTS, and it's a cat and mouse game like anything else. And we're going to see some interesting developments as this continues. But for right now, pretty much just download Ssl Strip, click go, and Bob's your uncle. So if you guys have any interest or you'd like to see us cover other things in the future on Pineapple University, let us know in the comments, and I will see you guys on the internet.
Cool.
Cool.
All right.
Yes.
So that video's from 2014. There have been updates to HTTP that have.
And there's been updates to Wi-Fi Pineapple.
Yeah, but SSL Strip is now some sites it doesn't work. In particular, there's a thing called I looked up what the name of it was. It's called HTTP Strict Transport Security, or HSTS, and it's basically when you visit a website that has HSTS enabled, they'll have a header that says, "Hey, if you visit this site anytime in the next year or 3 months or something, refuse to connect via HTTP. Only do HTTPS." And so if the users visited the website even once, they'll get that. And what's more, your browser has a preloaded list of sites that have opted in to have that. So even before the first time you ever visit it, your browser will know that, like, say, PayPal.com should always be HTTPS. Your browser will refuse to connect to PayPal.
They're trying to push that everybody.
Yeah.
Switch. That way everybody, like, no, there's no reasonable reason
why you wouldn't.
Why you would.
Yeah, and increasingly browsers are trying to force websites to be HTTPS. You can't have HTTP2, which is the new version of HTTP that's a lot faster and has a lot of optimizations if you're not HTTPS. And now I think Firefox has implemented a policy. Anytime they add a new feature, like a new CSS thing or a new thing you can do with JavaScript, if a site doesn't have HTTPS, they can't use that feature. So they're trying to make it so that if you want to keep adding stuff to your website, one of those things you add has got to be HTTPS.
I'm posting an article that actually discusses HSTS a little bit and how it can be used as a super cookie to track where you're going, even across websites.
Yay, we don't have
Check
any
that out.
privacy anymore.
Yeah.
You guys should get VPNs. Pay for a VPN provider.
Oh, have you guys
Put everything
ever
behind VPN all the time. Because then, even if you're on one of these attacks, nothing much they can really do.
Have you guys heard of EverCookie?
I can't do it.
EverCookie's pretty. It's by Sammy Kamkar. He made a JavaScript tool that'll try and save a cookie on your computer, and like 20 different a cookie, if you don't know, is a browser thing that like sort of tracks you. I think he made EverCookie, which goes beyond just normal cookies, and it tries to store it in like 15 different ways. It uses like Flash. It uses obscure features of your browser that you've forgotten, but that allow you to store stuff. And so you clear your cookies, the EverCookie doesn't go away. And as soon as you visit the site that originally put the EverCookie there, if it finds even one trace of the cookie, then it will restore all the other things, even if you just cleared your cookies. So you go on a site that stores an EverCookie, it stores it in a million different ways, and then you clear your cookies because you're a privacy concerned user. You go back to that site, the cookies are back, everything's back. You didn't do anything, and it's very hard to kill an EverCookie.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, thank you for coming to the meeting tonight. I hope all of you got something out of it, learned something new. I hope you have some fun with the tools. Is there any questions, comments, concerns? No? How about social? We should have another social event soon. We should, are you guys down like a B-dubs, or maybe we should try to throw a LAN party or something?
I think I wanted to try and schedule something after it is that we do our tabling, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were just
So, I think...
So just whenever we do that. So if we've got a date for that, we can just set it up for some time.
Yeah, so we're going to table, and we need to do another social event so we can get together and have a good time. All right, guys. Well, thank you for coming out, and have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you next week. Oh, and I hope everyone signed in. You should have signed in.
Yeah, if we've got like a date.
Is this one already signed in?
What?
I mean, is there a fast way to sign in?